এই হেডিংটা দেবে, দিয়ে একটা ছবি তোমাদের ডুবে যাচ্ছে, ওখান থেকে যেখানে দেখো দাগ করা আছে, মার্কিং করা আছে, সেখান থেকে দেখে দেখে ওটা লিখে নেবে প্রিন্সিপাল। মেইন ব্যাপার যেটা হচ্ছে এই এস্টিমেশন গুলো, যে এস্টিমেশন করা খুব সহজ, ওটা নিয়ে কেউ কিছু করবে না, বাট এর যে রেজাল্টটা বেরোবে এবং তার যে ক্লিনিক্যাল কোরিলেশন সেইগুলি যেন ভালোভাবে পড়ো, প্রশ্ন সেখান থেকে আসবে। Alkaline phosphatase is an enzyme which works on naturally occurring compound which has phosphate addendum. Addendum মানে যার মধ্যে ফসফেট জুড়ে আছে, তাকে বলে phosphate addendum. The compounds with phosphate addendum, example দাও, give one example যেখানে ফসফেট আছে। ADP, ATP, AMP, আর কিছু PRPP, আর কিছু glycogen synthase, glycogen phosphorylase, হ্যাঁ, tyrosine kinase, হ্যাঁ, tyrosine kinase receptor, সমস্ত বস্তু। So there are many compounds in the cell which are phosphorylated. So these compounds must undergo the normal breakdown process or turnover process. Turnover process means like we were young, then we grown up, now we are young, we are very young, now we are quite young, then you will be very young, then you will be too young, then you will be too old, and there will be photo frame, correct? So all these occurs in stages. Similarly, this turnover, all the proteins which are synthesized in the body, they must get turned over. So for turning over, the first criteria is it has to be dephosphorylated. So these enzymes act on those compounds where dephosphorylation is required. That's why it's called alkaline phosphatase. Now there are many enzymes or many proteins which function and in acidic condition. So alkaline phosphatase will not work on them. For them, we have a separate enzyme called alkaline condition requires alkaline phosphatase. Acidic condition require acid phosphatase. Alkaline phosphatase, opposite is acid phosphatase. Okay, what is a কি বলে এই pH টা কি বলে, স্ট্যান্ডার্ড at pH at which it functions maximum, optimum pH. What is the optimum pH for alkaline phosphatase? Between 10 and 12, and the optimum pH for acid phosphatase is between 4 to 5, 4 থেকে 5 এর মধ্যে, correct? So acid phosphatase work on compound which are dephosphorylated, and the acidic condition alkaline phosphatase work on compounds which are dephosphorylated in the alkaline condition. Now where do you find alkaline phosphatase, this enzyme? These enzymes are omnipresent almost in all cells, but there is certain tissue where alkaline phosphatase production is very high. Say for example GI tract, the tissue involving GI tract, correct? So all the canaliculi, hepatic duct, cystic duct, or the duct system, everything, these tissues, they produce lot of alkaline phosphatase. What else? The bone tissue. Which bone? All bones. Which are bones, strong bones, hard bones. So these bone tissue, they produce alkaline phosphatase. So in whose body or in which condition we will find there will be elevated level of alkaline phosphatase? Either any disease related to biliary duct, biliary canaliculi, or small intestine, or any disease related to bones, correct? So the condition at which alkaline phosphatase will be elevated are obstructive jaundice, be it intrahepatic or extrahepatic, both. What are the conditions? What are the causes for intrahepatic obstruction? The drugs used in manual treatment causes intrahepatic obstruction. Chloroquine, primaquine, these drugs. Right? Okay. Achha. What else? If there is any, say for example, blockade in the intrahepatic biliary duct. Achha. Maybe due to formation of some cancerous growth, something like that, or formation of or deposition of calcium deposits, but rare. Mostly this is due to cancer or a malarial treatment, anti-malarial drug treatment. Next, let's say, what are the causes for extrahepatic obstruction? Any cause which causes occlusion of the CVD. What can cause occlusion of the CVD? Constriction or occlusion of the CVD. Follow? Cancer of the head of the pancreas. Right? Cancer of the head of the pancreas. Or calcinosis, cholelithiasis, formation of stone in the CVD. It can be due to cholesterol, it can be due to calcium. Calcinosis or cholelithiasis. Cholelithiasis means due to cholesterol. Calcinosis means due to calcium deposition. Right? So all these things you should be aware and very nicely aware. You have to answer. Without telling this, you are not going to pass. Nothing doing. Right? Next. Now, in addition to this, alkaline phosphatase levels are usually found elevated in pregnant ladies and growing children. Why pregnant ladies? Because pregnant lady carries a growing fetus. So during bone formation of the fetus, these enzymes are required. During the formation of bone, alkaline phosphatase is required. Why? To increase the calcium and phosphorus ratio in the bone. Correct? Without alkaline phosphatase, high alkaline phosphatase, bone cannot be synthesized. Correct? So now, one is pregnant lady due to growing fetus. Next is children, growing children. Children at the growing age. Why? Because their bones are increasing in length, long bones. So that require, bone growth require alkaline phosphatase. Without alkaline phosphatase, calcium will not be deposited in the tissue and bone will not be formed. Correct? Then, one more. Person who is suffering from vitamin D deficiency called ricket among children and osteoporosis among adults. So, in the rickets also, you will find high elevated alkaline phosphatase. Why? It is a vague process. But the body tries to increase alkaline phosphatase in order to harbor more, absorb more calcium. But the person is having no vitamin D, it cannot absorb calcium. But body keeps on trying by absorbing more calcium by increasing the production of alkaline phosphatase. Right? So in that process, alkaline phosphatase is increased. But due to deficiency of vitamin D, calcium, although calcium is present in the diet, it cannot be absorbed. Understood? So this is one of the cause for elevated alkaline phosphatase level in the ricket. Next is osteomalacia. The same condition among adults. Vitamin D deficiency, it cannot absorb calcium, but once it is absorbed, it can be deposited because of high alkaline phosphatase, but it cannot produce. Then osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is a condition where bone becomes fragile and the radiological image of the bone shows sieve-like appearance. Sieve. আটা ছাড়াই যে চালানো থাকে সিভের মতন, মানে জালের মতন দেখা যায়। Sieve like appearance. Next. Paget's disease. Again, this is also a bone disease, Paget disease. In these Paget disease also, alkaline phosphatase will remain elevated. Okay. What else? Now, in some cases of cancer, alkaline phosphatase is also elevated. The cancer of CBD, common bile duct. Okay, cancer of CBD, common bile duct cancer hoy. In that case also, alkaline phosphatase also will be elevated. So these are the cases where alkaline phosphatase will be elevated. All these cases you must know and take. Okay. Now, while doing the test, you have to remember that this is done by a kinetic method. As I mentioned in my first class during this practical session, not this one, the previous session, I explained what is the difference between a kinetic method and one endpoint method. Do you remember? Your face shows that you don't remember that the class I was taken by me also. Right? Okay, okay. I don't want to put you in trouble. Don't worry, Baba. Don't take much pressure. Anybody remember? No. Now, endpoint method means we measure the change in the absorbance in the beginning and at the end of the reaction. And kinetic method means it is a continuous process. We look at two distinct points and we see the difference between those 2 points only. That's called a kinetic method. Okay. So reaction is taking place before this point, even after that point. But we are not bothered about that. We are bothered about how much reaction is taking place between those 2 points only. Okay, if it is increasing, fine. If it is decreasing, fine. Fine. So anyway, so this is a kinetic method. The kinetic method is easier method compared to endpoint method because it requires less amount of substrate. Now the substrate is paranitrophenol compound, PNPP, paranitrophenyl phosphate. Paranitrophenyl phosphate, PNPP. So when PNPP is acted upon by the alkaline phosphatase present in the serum, this serum, the phosphate is removed and paranitrophenol is produced. Paranitrophenol is a yellow color compound. দেখো লেখা আছে তারপর আমাদের দেখিয়ে দিস paranitrophenol is a yellow color compound. Yellow color compound means what should be the wavelength? 400 means red, 700 means violet. So yellow is near to red. So near 400, see 405 nanometer wavelength has been considered optimum wavelength for this reaction. Okay. So at 400 nanometer we measure the yellow color concentration. Higher the concentration, higher the amount of PNP produced. So if the PNP is produced at the rate of say 50 molecules per second, then the color will be say as X, suppose. And if the PNP is produced 80 milligram per 80 molecules per second, then the reading will be suppose Y. So the absorbance in these 2 cases will be X greater than Y or Y greater than X. Y greater than X, because more molecules, more amount of light will be absorbed. Correct? So that is how we measure in kinetic method. The graph actually, more the substrate will be there, the graph will be like this. বেশি কমপ্লিকেট হয়ে যাচ্ছে দেখো এরকম একটা গ্রাফ হয় ঠিক আছে যদি অ্যামাউন্ট অফ সাবস্ট্রেট কম থাকে then the graph will be like this. If the amount of further raise, then graph will be like this, but graph will be increasing, but height will differ. Height will differ. Okay. So by this we can measure in kinetic method. We just measure between these 2 points. See, this is 60 seconds and this is 120 seconds. This is 0. So first to 60 seconds is called delay time. What is delay time? Delay time adjusts the stray reaction. Stray reaction. What is that? Some amount of phosphatase activity is also present within the cell. If some amount of cell is damaged, then that will come out in the serum. Correct? So, or the normal leakage process. So, to nullify the effect of that, we delay, we wait for 30 seconds so that all the enzymes are occupied by the substrate. Then we start measuring the rate of increase in absorbance. That time is called delay period, where it adjusts the already pre-existing substances which are not associated with alkaline phosphatase what we are going to measure, but having the same effect on the product. So that's all for alkaline phosphatase. Okay, just read the clinical correlation of the alkaline phosphatase and write the preparation procedure like this and bring it. Next week we will do the